Welcome, race fans, to episode 23 of Translated's adventure around the world in the Ocean Globe Race. My name is Paul Cayard, and this week I'm in beautiful St. Bart's on a 56-meter Perini Navi called Rose Hardy. We got a little race here called the St. Bart's Bucket later in the week, and we're out for a training day right now. Translated and the rest of the OGR racers are battling their way up to the coast of Brazil. Winds have shifted a little bit, so at least they're going straight and they've stopped tacking. We'll take a good look at how they got to where they are in the tracker, and then as usual we'll review the router and see the weather coming up as they approach the doldrums. I've moved the tracker back to March 13th, which is about 8 days ago, just to take a look at how the boats got in the positions they are, which is important. And what I want to point out is that early on, Pendwick was playing the east side of the fleet. They've really tried to position themselves to the east. Esprit d'Equipe and Maiden, you might remember, played the inside and early on, and Maiden was doing well, and here they are trying to get out to the outside. Translated's in this position down here. But what has happened as they've gone up the coast is that Translated went from a relative outside position with Pendwick more into the middle of the group. This is now on the 15th of March, and Translated's here and Maiden's here, while Esprit d'Equipe and Pendwick really have owned the eastern edge of the fleet. And that is what is setting them up to take the lead that they have today, which is about a 250-mile lead. Here in this situation, you can see these boats are actually tacking onto port. They're still tacking, but Esprit d'Equipe and Pendwick are in more easterly winds. The rotation here of the high pressure is like this. So the more east you are, the more east the wind is, and therefore the more open the wind angle is. And the more west you are, the more northerly the wind is, and therefore the more headwinds you have. So that is the root cause of how these two boats start stretching on the fleet. Is they're just not that much, 75 miles to the east of the group, and as things straighten out here, they're enjoying a little more pressure and always the wind a little bit more to the right. That's why these courses are left, these courses are right, because the wind is to the right up here, which is advantageous. So here we move right on up through yesterday, the 20th and the 21st, and it's kind of a rich gets richer situation. Here's the rotation I'm talking about. You can see generally that the winds along the coast here are a little more northerly or northeasterly, where the winds out to the east tend to be more from the east. So that's how these two boats sail the more direct course. There probably is a little bit of difference in pressure, might be a little stronger, but the significant thing is the direction due to the rotation here. Now, I'll get into this in the tracker a little more, but the last thing I want to point out, here's Recife, by the way. They've just now passing Recife. Here's Translated right alongside Recife, and this is the doldrums. This is what's called the Intertropical Convergence Zone, ITCZ. We call it the doldrums. And the Intertropical Convergence Zone is the convergence of the South Atlantic high pressure system and the North Atlantic high pressure system, which is known as the Azores High. So where those two systems converge, there's a massive zone of confusion and no wind, and hurricanes are born in here, and they're about to approach this area. It's not hurricane season, so we don't have to worry about that. As usual, my starting position for the router is Translated's position today on March 21st, and I have Southampton or the Isle of Wight in England as the destination of my router. I'm sorry that this is a little confusing here, because what we have here, apart from the 6 routes that are run here on the left side of all these lines, is we have the actual courses sailed, the tracks of the boats from leg 1 going down to Cape Town. So I'll try to get a hold of PredictWind and figure out how to remove these for my future reports. But the lines that we're interested in here, which represent 6 different forecasts and possible routes for translated, well, there they went away momentarily maybe, but these are the lines that we're interested in, and they're all pretty much running due north here. Obviously, the big elephant in the room this weekend for the gang is the doldrums, and you can see here the blue means no wind, the green is a little bit of wind, the yellow and the orange is more wind. So this is a great depiction of the South Atlantic high. We call them trade winds. These are really consistent breezes, and they've enjoyed those for the last couple days. But now Penduik, being the lead boat up here, is going to start slowing down first. So you're going to have what we call compression of the fleet. All these guys that are still enjoying good winds are going to close down that 250-mile lead that Penduik has and Esprit d'Equipe. And they're all going to get into this doldrums area and battle their way through. This is completely unforecastable, unpredictable. The only thing we know is it's going to be very hot, and the winds will be sporadic. There can be squalls at night. It can rain. The wind can shift 180 degrees in a minute. It's just literally battling your way through this 200-mile, 300-mile of north-south that they have to get through. So it'll be a long weekend of going somewhere between 0 knots and full speed. As they'll get through this doldrum area, I think on, looks like they're popping out there on Monday the 25th. So, like I said, that's what's in store for the fleet for really starting today, which is Thursday for me. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The next 4 days, they're going to be dealing with this. And there's opportunity here. Like I said, Penduik will slow down first. And if translated, being a little bit more to the west, happens to get better breezes, remember, generally we try to transit the doldrums as far west as we can. Obviously, the finish line is up here to the northeast, so the more west is more distance, but the doldrums are less bad here. You can see there's sporadic wind, whereas if you go over the African coast, the doldrums are quite wide. So anyway, there's opportunity here. Possibly translated, can find a better lane through and cut that 250-mile lead down a lot by the time they exit this and get back into the trades of the North Atlantic high, which is known as the Azores high. So that's what our group can expect for the week, and let's pass good thoughts on to them that they do find a nice lane through the doldrums. So that's a wrap on episode 23. As we can see, the boats are heading up the east coast of Brazil, slowly making their way up to Recife. The winds have shifted to the east, so at least they've stopped tacking. And our team's 250 miles off the lead, but there's still 4,000 miles to go. It's going to be difficult and hot as they cross the equator, but plenty of opportunity. So, as always, let's believe in the human.